again, this team could still make the playoffs, and for them, even Adrian Peterson being out, you're losing a name, I think, at this point. And granted, AP, he had a very stellar year last year, led the league in rushing. These first 2 weeks, as how he played in the first 2 weeks, not saying he could have turned it around, but Asiata and McKinnon are two good backs. They did a pretty good job filling in for Adrian Peterson back in 2014 when he was suspended for being Adrian Beta's son. They're gonna be fine. It could be a blessing in disguise because now, it does change the defensive game plan, I think, too, where I don't think it's going to be as easy for Sam Bradford to have as an above-average day that he had on Sunday. I think a little bit was blown up for how well he played. He did play well, and he showed some moxie out there, too, on Sunday for taking a hell of a beating and keep getting back up and keep helping that offense move the ball. But it's going to be a little bit different, I think, coming around, especially with the Carolina Panthers. Secondary, you did lose Josh Norman, so it's not going to be as strong as they were last year. And I think it's kind of shown in the first couple weeks here too. But an overall defense, I think, is as we even talked about last year, probably right on par, if not a little bit above what the Green Bay Packers defense is, and the way the Carolina Panthers offense is playing. It's really going to put, I think, a big test of what the Vikings can do too. But anyway, a team that can make the playoffs and could still win this. Can still win this division. Obviously they got the basically a game and a half lead. As of right now, again early, a lot to be determined. And the way this season's played out, there's only really 5. I think every team that's leading the division in the AFC is 2-0. And I think the Vikings are the only team in the NFC. Thinking, yes. No, Giants. Giants and Vikings are the only two teams in the NFC that are undefeated. So you're down to 6 teams in the NFL that are undefeated, which after 2 weeks, it's kind of amazing, really. You look at even where the NFC South is. You have the Carolina Panthers, who lost one game all of last regular season, already lost one. And then you're basically tied up with Tampa Bay. New Orleans are 0-2. Never mind. Sorry, haha. And the Atlanta Falcons are 1-1. So very early. Some of these teams that are 0-2 that can really bounce back. I think it seems like there's a lot of halfway decent teams that are at 0-2. The Washington Redskins being one of them, being a playoff team, winning a very weak NFC East team or NFC East last year. I'm not going to say they're going to be a playoff team, but I don't think they're as bad as what they've been showing. The Buffalo Bills, I think people are laughing at them. They might be the worst team in football. They did win that game they did lose that game against Baltimore 13-7. So their defense did play relatively well, last week, but a little bit of a shamble. Maybe just sacrifice this to your Bills fans. You're good at it. You're right up there with Cleveland with bearing down on bullshit football, but get Rex Ryan out of there. You need a guy with less curbside appeal, more of an actual coach. I think that's their biggest problem. So a lot of teams, as far as the Packers are concerned, there's problems. There should be a little bit of complaining, but hell, could be worse. Could be the Cleveland Browns who lost, Josh McCown, lost RG3. They lost, and lost badly, I guess, so far this season too. And having a game basically won against the Baltimore Ravens, couldn't get it done, couldn't seal it off. 20-0 in the first quarter, 20-2. You had the lead, and then you unravel and lose 22-20, I believe. So that's how we. Or you could be like the Houston Texans, starting off 2-0. Now we can say not all AFC teams were 2-0. They were before entering tonight. Just got embarrassed, flat out embarrassed by the New England Patriots. And one thing I'll never do again, which I did, bet against the New England Patriots. Usually not a bad idea. If you bet on them 16 times, you're only probably going to be wrong maybe 3-4 times a year at max. Patriots right now are going to be a team that's probably hovering right around 15-1 if they keep playing the way they're playing. And again, I just used the adage of, yeah, things can change, and sure they can, but it seems like, when you go down to your third-string quarterback and you have to change the total way of how you play offense. I mean, with Jimmy Garoppolo in there, it made sense because they kept a similar game plan to what the Patriots do. Maybe the short to moderate passing game, sprinkled in there with a few runs, a few screens to James White, LeGarrette Blount running the ball. Tonight was totally different. They still couldn't run the ball that well until LeGarrette Blount, I think in the second half of tonight's game, totally just busted out and had an ass-whooping party. But the majority of the runs in the first half were all on Brissett himself. A lot of read option style playing. And I think in the first half he only had 9 passes. And hell, he might have only had 9 passes the entire game. Probably up to maybe 13. I don't know. It didn't sound like he passed the ball a lot. I had to listen to it on the radio. So it's amazing how quickly they can game plan and adjust to having different people in there. And I think that's what makes the New England Patriots so great. And that's what, people will say, well, that's what the Packers need to do. Well, there's so many teams that do that. And that can't do what the Patriots do or want to do that. And a lot of it's maybe the coach's stubbornness that this is my game plan, this is my baby, this is what's going to work, to maybe make them look like a genius. Or maybe the genius in Bill Belichick is just winning. It doesn't matter how, if you have to, while this sounds bad for the Patriots, steal playbooks, or steal different plays or playing styles from other quarterback or other coaches to fit your quarterback's needs. I mean, that was amazing tonight how much they changed their game plan. And again, just you can call him Bill Belichick all you want. Flat out, this is probably the greatest coach of all time. You can make arguments about Bill Parcells and what he's done to turn different teams around, and he's proven that he can do that. And obviously, Bill Belichick has been in one home so long, and maybe you use that what I like to use, the Jimmy Johnson effect, and not Jimmy Johnson, the head coach, the Jimmy Johnson NASCAR driver. When you're together that long and you've never been apart, you almost wonder what these guys would be separated from that 48 team for Jimmy Johnson's sake, or what Bill Belichick could do if he pulled like a Bill Parcells and retired and then came back for, maybe came back to the Cleveland Browns, or, just even maybe said, hey, I'm going to coach up the Green Bay Packers. I want to coach Aaron Rodgers. It'd be interesting to see what he would do, outside of New England, but you can't deny, as much as you might hate him, or the Patriots, or Tom Brady, you can't deny the greatness there. Even with the cheating scandals that have been on their books, you just can't deny it. So anyway, I'm gonna go with the picks. I'm hoping that I don't get cut off when I do this, so I really probably have no way of knowing. It still says it's on in the background, so that's good. I'm going to go through the picks as I normally do here for week 3, as we're in the third week of the NFL. Go through the picks and then kind of wrap the show up. So this is basically a heavy NFL-related show. But one thing I will say, one thing that kind of grinded my gears about the NASCAR circuit here, since I did mention Jimmy Johnson. I'm going to talk a little NASCAR here too. Martin Truex did win the race at Chicagoland last weekend, and that team really too is a team that's performing at a championship level and deserves to be in the mix too, but gets caught with his rear end was out of alignment. So was Jimmy Johnson's, and they really wanted to crack down on people that were maybe cheating to try to put themselves in better position to win these games or win these races. And basically, even if they find them points, it doesn't matter because they get to keep that win. And points don't matter for Martin Truex Jr. now. They don't. It doesn't make a difference. So, and NASCAR decided not to penalize either of them, which, maybe it's probably not that big of a deal. And maybe a lot of these penalties that the teams get penalized for aren't that big of a deal. But, come on, guys. Just please be consistent when you do it. So, anyway, I'm going to go through the week's matchups here. So, anyway, going back to professional football. Again, NASCAR race is at New Hampshire. So, I'm thinking, again, you're going to look at a lot of the Gibbs cars. They're going to be fast. Kenseth did win there earlier in July, and guys like Kyle Busch, a lot of those Gibbs cars are going to be fast. Martin Truex Jr., he's on basically the other Gibbs car. He's going to be on Hellfire too. So we'll talk more about NASCAR as we get to the Eliminator round or Contender round, whatever these rounds are. The round of 12, as it's probably just more easily known as. Anyway, the first game on the NFL docket is the Oakland Raiders traveling to Tennessee to play the Titans. Titans are 2-point favorites in this game. I'm going to go ahead and say that the Oakland Raiders will squeak out a victory. I think their offense is higher power or high powered enough to win this game. But their defense right now is a shambled mess. With Khalil Mack and signing Bruce Irving, I think a lot of people thought at this point or this year was going to be that year that we were going to see a balanced Raider team. It's still a team that's, I guess you're going to say it's going to be a work in progress, and again, they could solve it this year, sure, but it's a team that they're going to have to win almost 2011 Green Bay Packers style. They're going to have to win in shootouts, and they'll probably get the advantage in this game because the Titans don't have necessarily that high powered of an offense. But what could be the Raiders' downfall is the play of DeMarco Murray, that I think playing above and beyond. Rushing wise, he's been decent, but making big plays, scoring big touchdowns for him. Really, almost could have had Minnesota week 1 if they didn't kind of botch it up in the second half, which there was one with a miscued handoff that the Vikings got, and I can't remember the other one. And I think the other one might have been a good play on the Vikings, but anyway, they could play a little bit of ball control and keep the Oakland Raiders offense off the field. So it's going to be interesting there. Next game is going to be the Cleveland Browns traveling to Miami to play the Dolphins. Dolphins are 9.5-point favorites in this game. I'm going to take the Dolphins all day long. They played a pretty good second half versus the New England Patriots, almost coming back to win once Jimmy Garoppolo left that game early. But this is more to do with kind of the Browns situation, starting your third-string quarterback, which I can't think of his name offhand right now, especially while on the road here. But Browns. It's gonna be a long season. You hope you can get Josh McCown back sooner or later, so maybe it'd be salvageable, because it doesn't sound like you might not be getting Josh Gordon back anytime soon. Mr. getting a arrest warrant because putting your dick where it shouldn't be. The next game is going to be the Detroit